We're back again. This time, I am continuing from where I stopped in the immediate past video. We talked about the survivor mode and the thriving mode. So in this video, we are going to look at the differences between these two modes and how they compute at the end of the day in the people's experiences of life. But don't forget, these modes, survivor and thriving, they are the way an individual as well as a group of people respond to life. It is about the attitude towards resources. It's about attitude towards enterprise. People who have a scarce mentality, which is the mentality of survivor, will cling to the little that they have and want to defend and protect it against all odds. This is where the inability to invest in big businesses come into play because they are afraid of losing what they already have. So that venture mentality to go for something big is not there. Why? Because the survivalist, the person in the survival mode, is scared that resources are scarce. He's scared because the person has not mastered the control of material energy. So the person is seeing their wealth, they are having access to money as a chance occurrence or as a product of extreme hard work. That is where the whole challenge comes. When this happens, that enterprise spirit, that questing spirit that gives a nation that big boost and that big boom at the end of the day is silenced. Everybody is acting on the basis of fear. Fear of losing. Fear of it's not enough. That's how it is. So when you have a candidate that epitomizes this mentality, there is no way the candidate will not be your leader at the end of the day. There's another thing we also need to know about this survival mentality. One, it is fearful. We already hinted on that. It is antagonistic. It is neurotically protective. It is impulsive. Does not have that fulcrum, that handle, that control over things that are before it. Therefore, that idea of protecting what they have is very, very strong. Now, at the end of the day, somebody who is on survival mode is not actually robust in their approach to life. They are always constricted. They cannot really see far. All about them is food, fashion, folks, party. They just want to live in comfort and the little luxury that their resources can give to them. That is the mentality of survivor. All other possibilities of the human mind are shut out because that person is living in perpetual fear, living in a perpetual state of seeking protection at all times. So security is key to this person. If you look at it at another level, when somebody is between life and death, let us assume now that a building were on fire and you were on the 5th floor of that building and the building is being evacuated. Somebody whose original state of response to life is survival will forget about everybody else and care only about themselves, and they are taking off. They would have run out and escaped the place for the remember that, oh, their spouses are in the building. Their children are in the building. Their friends are in the building. Because for them, survival of this entity is numero uno, it's number one. But somebody who is in a thriving mode does not behave that way. It's always about how do I protect these people? How do I, those kind of things. Now, when you're on the airplane, they tell you when they are talking about the face mask and all of that, that you should take care of yourself first before you can care about other people. It is that mode that the survivalist occupies. There is no way a country whose populace are predominantly on survival mode can ever be a leader amongst fellow nations. It's not possible. Because in a state of survival, all the resources, vital resources of the mind are shut down. The only ones that are released are the ones that support survival of the organism. Now, when a human being epitomizes this mentality, they control the choices of the people. This is why I said it is not about the ballot, it is about your mentality. A country rises or falls on the basis of which of these mentalities runs it. Countries who are given to the thriving mode, they are not run by fear, they They are run by a robust mentality. They are always venturing for something new. They are pushing the limits of things. When they get into enterprise, they are thinking big. They are thinking massive enterprise. They are thinking big game, not greed. You might call it greed, but it is really not greed. It is the survivalist that is more greedy, because greed simply means that you put only yourself in the picture. Thinking big is not greed. It's thinking small, because you only see yourself. You don't care about every other person. That is survival, and that is greed. It's all about you. Greedy people think small because they are on survival mode. Why are they on survival mode? Because they subscribe to the idea that the resources of nature, of life, are extremely scarce. So they must protect that little which they have. I already said that they are antagonistic. They are not friendly because they are ever out to protect their turf. You see, when somebody's life is threatened, the person cannot trust anybody else. Because at that point in time, every other person actually is a risk factor. So when you're in a country, in business, in other aspects of that society, where everybody is suspicious of another person, you understand the mode they are in. It is survival. When you have this mentality and you have a leader who is at a thriving mode, who is interested in the country pushing new frontiers, expanding, building things, and this person as a thriving mode personality is tolerant, this person is faith-driven, this person understands that every effort of today must be so robust that it can cater to that of tomorrow. If that leader were to show up, of course, the masses will not see that leader as worthy of their votes. This is why I said it is not about the ballots, really. It's about the mentality. That mentality is a form of energy released. That mentality has an energy behind it. Whoever controls that energy controls that system. It is the battle. The battle of leadership is played and fought and won in the mind, not on the streets. What you see on the streets are all manifestations of the mental space of the people. If the people are brutish, disrespectful, small in their thoughts, you will see all kinds of brigandage, all kinds of negativities out there on the street. When we say, oh, our politics is very filthy, what we're actually saying indirectly is that our mental space as a people is very filthy. Because that space will play out in the physical. What I need us to know is this. There is no leader, however determined, who can change the determined course or direction of a people. It's not possible. Because the people will eat that leader up. Because there is no way you can change them. But you see, a people who are determined in their ways can change the direction of their country's leadership. That's how it is. Because you can imagine how one person with a mentality that is completely different from millions of people's mentality, it's not going to work. If a majority of people are thinking a particular way, it is their chi, their communal chi, thinking that way. Therefore, it is a yes. There's nothing that can change it. Anybody that tries to change that thing becomes an enemy. There's something we talk about in drama. We talk about positive action and negative action. So if a play is a tragedy, for instance, all the actions that are carried out within that play that help to achieve that tragic end is considered a positive action. It doesn't matter if the action were meant for good. For example, if the tragic hero was meant for ruination, for destruction, every action that other people will carry out to save that person is considered a negative action because it's trying to change the direction of the play. For example, in Julius Caesar, there is that scene when Caesar is heading to the capital, and then there is this guy that tries to give a note to Caesar, and Caesar asks, what is it all about? You see, it concerns you, my lord. It is about preventing Caesar from going to the capital where he's to be killed. The action of Caesar saying, okay, that which concerns us shall be handled last, is a positive action in the line of that thing. That's what we're talking about in drama. So we're talking about the social drama right now. A people have an orientation, and that orientation has its consequences. When people are not daring, when people are not adventurous, when all they're interested in is comfort, all they do is play safe, there is no way that nation can be progressive. It's not. When you look at every aspect, if I were to ask you to be honest and look at every aspect of our nation, just look around you. Where do you find that daring spirit where people are willing to take healthy risks? Most of the times, like now we're talking about insurgency everywhere, people are scared to go to the bushes to farm. You get that? But you see, I want to see people who will behave like Esther in the Bible that says, if I perish, I perish. People have to take the gauntlet and make a move. When people become so scared of that which is unseen, then it becomes a problem. I remember there was a time I wanted to travel from Lagos to Ekpoma, and I was told that the Benin Auchi road is a deadly road because of the spate of kidnapping happening there. They almost got at me. But when I eventually got the gist, I said, I will travel that road driving. If I get stolen, killed, or anything, it will be because of my decision, not because I was scared. Fear is caging. It is a survivalist mode. It is not the mode of somebody who has embraced life in its fullness. No. There is fear that is helpful, all right? But I'll tell you what, when you have a sense that things are not going to work, doesn't matter what effort you put in, they will not work. You have to understand that every single reality is created from your feeling, from your mentality, nowhere else. So I have never seen a country that does well, a civilization that was built on the altar of people waiting on one person to save them. I don't want to go into all of these things, but what I want to let you know is that the Bible also says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. There is no country in the world that is not run on the basis of people's choices. It is the choice of the people that always win at the end of the day. So when somebody says, oh, Nigerians are not having the best of life and people are determining their fate, it's a lie. You are the ones determining your fate. It is your body language and your mental language that society, leadership, all of them respond to. If you want to understand the full implication of this survival mentality, I will give you a picture. You see, that's what is called in the mind community the cycle of action. The cycle of action is start, continue, then stop. All right? That's the cycle of action. When you talk about the cycle of life, well, the survivalist cycle of life is birth, growth, and death. But of course, we know that life is not survivalist by nature. Therefore, the cycle of life is not birth, growth, and death, because there is no death. Because when you get to where you would have called death, you should put continue. Birth, growth, continue. Because life is a cycle. It is the cycle of life we know. We don't know the linear of life. Okay, we don't know the line of life. It's the cycle. It continues. But now let's look at action. Start, continue, stop. Now, somebody who operates the survival mode, when responding to this cycle of action, the person will always have someone to blame for their inability to start. If at all they start, they will have someone to blame for their inability to continue. If they continue something that is not positive and they want to stop it, they will have somebody to blame for their inability to stop that negativity. I just made mention of our enterprise mentality, how it is negative, our commitment to corruption. And people will have excuse to give for that. Say, we are corrupt because our leaders. We are corrupt because things are hard. The truth is, there is no responsible living human who realizes that something is inimical to their progress and we still hold on to that thing because other people have not done certain things. No. A human being has the capacity to start something, continue something, and when the person realizes that that thing is not good, he has the power to stop it at that point. When you can no longer stop, it means that your life is not within your control. In other words, you are no longer a full-fledged human being. You are becoming what? An automaton, a machine. We have a mode. When you are operating a certain mode of life. That is a personality determined mold. When you get to that point and realize that this thing is not working, you break that mold. You break it and build a new one. That is the capacity to start and stop. You build and you destroy. It is within your rights. But at the time, anything that has to do with your life is now being hinged on what is happening around you, it becomes a problem. Somebody has a very dark image of the present day Nigeria. When you hear this person talk about Nigeria today, you actually think that people are just being shot sporadically on the streets all over the country. He will tell you, to go to the bushes now is a terrible thing. That's the saying it. Then we were talking, I was telling him how I love traveling, how I love to go down the road into the bushes and all of those. I was telling him how I went to some farms and I was having fun. He said, that is not good to do at this point in our history. Your country is no longer what it was, or it has changed. Now that is the message of the constrictors. He said, you don't know what is going on. I have been attacked several times. I had to break someone's arm. I said, wow, I have no reason to doubt what he has said. I told him, do you not see the correlation? As you think about your country, so you experience your country. As you feel about your country, so you experience your country. As you feel about your family, as you feel about your friends, so you experience them. There are those of us who travel far and wide. We go places. Nothing has ever happened to us. There are people who believe in this country that policemen are evil. They kill all of that. But there are people who, when they are with police, they see them as friends and police actually come to their aid. All the time, police joke and laugh and play with them. That is a product of their mentality. Your mentality determines how you go. And this is it. There are agenda-setting people in every country. They set agenda to put certain feelings, certain things in the minds of people. And their job is to infiltrate the media, is to infiltrate everywhere that people consume data and fill them with these things. The idea is because they are enemies of the country. They want to heat up the system. They're all over the place. But this is what happens. A government must be aware of such people and then step up the mechanism for neutralizing them. But this way it happens. When their hearts, that's the mentality of the people, is connected to the kind of message that those people are sending out, which is a message of indolence, a message of you are not competent to, you are subject, you are a victim of society, of people, of certain groups, then there's something the government can do to change that. I don't know how much I can push this thing, but I want you to know one thing, that the survival mode is very much where Nigeria is functioning today. We need to leave it. You don't allow these outer circumstances of your life to dictate your feelings, because that is the trap. If you allow the outer circumstances to dictate your feelings, you will never overcome the circumstances, because the feelings will keep replicating and perpetuating the circumstances. That's what it does. But when your outer circumstances are giving you the zero, you go into the hero mentality and feel the heroism like that. Again, take a look at David, the boy. When Goliath was giving all his boast and strengthening the people of Israel, that was the physical thing he saw. But David decided to embrace something within him. He had a vision of he defeating Goliath and cutting off his head, and he said it to the man. He allowed his mental environment to overshadow the physical that he could see. Things that are physical are not real. Today we are fighting insurgency. We are talking about bandits and all of them, herdsmen and the rest of them. These things are infinitesimal compared to the corruption in the minds of a majority of us Nigerians. Let us take that corruption out and see if all of these things we don't cease. It's like magic. Work on your mind. The one that is most annoying, if I really want to go into those places, the way a people respond to crisis tells you how much progress is going on within their mind and how much is possible within their states. At the time things happen, instead of a nation coming together, and the political class is very, very, very guilty of this. I don't know where they are coming from. They don't have love for this country. There is a killing in a church, for example. you will see people come and play politics with it. That has nothing to do with politics. It has something to do with bestiality of a group of people. What a normal, right-thinking individual would do is to vilify that action exclusively, not justifying it. See, in case of you are talking about justification, I'm not saying that you are saying the action is right. No, you are not attacking the actions and the people who are doing it. You are actually saying that somebody else is responsible for that action. On the other day, I was watching CNN. I saw the news about how a church service was going on. Somebody pulled a gun and shot people. But another member of the church pulled his gun and shot the person and killed the person. Now, when I listen to all the commentaries and even the journalists, all of them speaking about that action, nobody blamed the government. Nobody blamed the system. But first of all, there were praises heaped. Like, I think I remember the sheriff saying that an evil person came to take an action, but the good people prevailed. You see that? It is about giving credence to valor, not making the people feel helpless before evil. But what has been happening in this country over the years since all of this has been happening is that every action points to the people and say you are helpless, you are powerless, you are unprotected. This mental mode will keep these people more powerful by the day because we really are not attacking them. We are simply saying that what they are doing is not their fault because certain people, our leaders, are the ones making it possible to do what you are doing. It is wrong. A people must be united against evil. But our filthy politicking, which is a product of our negative mental mode of survival, has destroyed any form of unity and cohesion. If we can all be one, cohesion, that's it. I am Osezwa Anthony Elime here. I came not to attack anybody, but to speak the truth. But if these things I have said made you feel attacked, too bad. I wish you would see it in a different light. It's about making us understand that we are stronger than the forces that threaten us, not otherwise. God bless you.